Imagine completing everything you needed to do this week in a day. Sounds impossible, right? Well, studies show on average, people get distracted after 11 minutes of work, and it can take 25 minutes to regain focus. Which means over an 8-hour workday, most people only achieve 2 hours of real work. But compare that to someone who uses a science-backed protocol to maximize deep work every hour. That's a 400% increase in productivity to complete everything and more in a single day. I'm Matty. I'm a former medical doctor, helping people learn and earn more doing what they love. And I've been using a deep work protocol every single day for over a year in our community, and it's completely changed how I think about productivity. Last year, we hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, we launched StudyQuest, and even hit our first $100,000 month, which still blows my mind. And I did it all by working less. Time is not our most valuable resource. It's focus, right? It's not about spending more time, but making our time worth more. And that's why I made this video, to share our deep work protocol that's worked incredible for us in our community. It's 3 steps, and you must do each in order. Step 1 is preparation, setting up the right conditions and structure to be successful. Preparation comes down to 2 things. First is a single clear goal. Now, this is probably the most important point in the entire video, and it's what separates people who do 30, 50, 100K per month from everyone else. So pay attention. I'm gonna draw a circle here. This is your circle of focus. So let's say that right now, your main goal is to build a product for your business. And if that's the only thing that you're working on, it gets 100% of your attention. Pretty good, right? But like everybody else in the world right now, let's say that you also want to start a YouTube channel. So instantly, what's gonna happen is your circle of focus is gonna be split in 2. And now YouTube is gonna get 50%, and building a product, which was at 100%, is also now at 50%. But wait, I also wanna start a podcast. I wanna get into bodybuilding. I want to learn how to cook. I don't know, get into crypto or something. Now our focus is split in 6 ways here. I can't do math, whatever 1/6 percentage is, but you get what I mean. Our expectation is that we'll make steady progress in each of these areas if we do them simultaneously. But in reality, when we split our focus like this, we just half-ass doing everything. Imagine you have a team of 4 people. If you all work together and spend all of your time and your effort, you're gonna get way more done than if you all work on your own thing. Preparation is just about prioritization. If we want our deep work to compound over time, just pick one goal at a time, break it apart into smaller tasks, and get super clear on them. There's no need to complicate this too much, all right? There are only 3 things to determine for each task. You wanna know what, when, and how to complete each one. For what, decide on the objective of the task. What is the goal of the task? For when, schedule into your calendar when you're gonna do the task. When is that deep work session gonna be? And for how, the specific actions you will do to accomplish the objective. Clarity creates focus. Confusion causes procrastination. We can't accomplish a week's worth of work if we aren't even clear on what that week's worth of work even is. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. That comes from Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Like, think of this like going to war. It's a battle for your productivity and achieving your goals. So the second step of preparation is accountability. And personally, I find it much more effective to use public accountability. This is because of a psychology principle known as cognitive dissonance. We naturally want to be consistent with our identity and our perception of ourself. If I comment on this YouTube video and tell everyone that I'm going to shave this nasty mustache if that comment gets 10,000 likes, it's much more likely to happen. Why? Because I don't think of myself as a liar or a coward or someone who doesn't follow through with their word. It goes against my code of conduct, you know? And it's public, and so everyone is going to know about it. So I have even more skin in the game and more of a reason to stick to my word. So the simplest way to do this is to tell people about your deep work schedule and ask them to join you. In our community, we meet daily for deep work at 11 a.m. PST. And just being in a room with everyone else who's also focused brings this energy that we're all pursuing excellence, you know, and something bigger than ourselves. It's awesome. Like, I used to think that signing up for workout classes was dumb, but it's having that public accountability, seeing everyone else put in hard work and together push each other. That's what makes deep work not only more productive, but also enjoyable. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that ends the preparation part of the protocol. Step 2 is engage. We're clear on our priorities and we've put some skin in the game. Now the time has come to actually engage in deep work and ensure we follow through with what we set out to do. So to consistently get locked in, we can follow a simple 5-step practice called the focus checklist. So in biochemistry, there's this concept called activation energy. If we want something, let's call it substrate A, who's you and they're unfocused, to change into product B, who is focused, there is an energy cost to get there, right? That's what we call the activation energy. We have to climb this energy curve and then we can snowball into focus. But there's actually a way we can significantly lower that cost if we use something called a catalyst. Think of it like using a blow dryer to dry your hair versus letting your hair dry on its own, right? One takes a lot longer than the other. The thing is, sometimes without a catalyst, the change never happens at all, right? Think about all the times where you've tried to sit down to work and then you gave up because you couldn't concentrate. Maybe you got to a challenging problem or you got bored and then you started thinking, ugh, this sucks. I can't focus. And it's so frustrating, right? Because you know you need to get your work done. The focus checklist is the catalyst to getting started with deep work. It reduces the cost and it speeds it up. We designed each of the 5 steps based on science to get you locked in quickly. And so you never forget it, it conveniently spells focus. Let's run through it together. F is for familiar. Do a familiar ritual that primes your brain for deep work. Think about how a basketball player bounces the ball before a free throw, or a tennis player bounces the ball before a serve. What we're doing here is warming up our mind and sending a signal to our brain that we're ready for deep work. Next is objective. Get super specific about what you're going to be working on. Go ahead and look back at your preparation at the what, when, and how to remind yourself of the game plan and pick that one task to do. C stands for capture. Keep a notepad or a to-do list nearby to capture any tasks, ideas, or reminders that pop up into your head during our deep work session. The goal is to capture those so you can come back to them later. U stands for urgency. Clearly define how long we're going to be working for. I personally love using a timer to add some stakes to it, but you can also use a stopwatch if you want to push your limits. Finally, S stands for surroundings. Remove all distractions from your surrounding environment. Turn on Do Not Disturb, put your phone in another room completely, find a quiet spot, or get some earplugs and noise-canceling headphones. So I'm not going to go too deep into the science behind each of the steps in this checklist, but we break this down a lot deeper in StudyQuest. If you're interested, I'll leave some links in the description. So to put Engage into practice, at the beginning of each deep work session, run through each of the 5 checklist items. And this shouldn't take you more than a minute or 2 to do so if you've properly prepared using step 1 of the protocol. Once you're focused and in flow, we reach the final part of the protocol, which is sustain. We're locked in now. So now we want to sustain focus for longer than 11 minutes if we're going to make any significant progress towards our goals. So to sustain focus, think of yourself as an athlete who's getting ready for competition, but instead we're mental athletes, right? We're knowledge workers, and our muscle that we're training is our brain. First is endurance, or how long we can focus before getting distracted. And this has to do with the Yerkes-Dodson law. This law states that there's an optimal level of stimulation or arousal where we unlock peak performance. Too much and we'll get frustrated or overwhelmed. Too little and we'll get bored. So to sustain our focus, we have to be constantly aware of where we fall on that spectrum. For example, let's say that you're reading an article, right? And you start feeling a little bit bored. Happens to us. This is a state of low arousal, and you're gonna have an urge to reach for Instagram or something. But instead of giving in, what you can do is bring awareness to your current state, recognize that your arousal is low, and then make adjustments. Maybe it's boring because that article isn't relevant to your project or your goals, so you should move on to reading another one. On the other hand, maybe you're trying to solve a complex problem and you're starting to feel overwhelmed. This is a state of high arousal now. But instead of giving up again, right, bring awareness to that state and now adjust the other way. Maybe ask ChatGPT to simplify the problem or watch a quick YouTube video for more context. So how do we know when our level of arousal is off? Well, we can use some cues. Intrusive thoughts and negative emotions are indicators that our level of arousal is imbalanced. So you have to train yourself to pay attention. You have to notice it first before you can correct it. And if you practice this, you're gonna be able to focus for as long as you need to. Now, this doesn't mean that we need to focus for 10 hours straight. Personally, I don't think it's necessary to deep work for more than 2 hours in one sitting. This is because our brain and our body operate in cycles. In physiology, we call these ultradian rhythms. It's the way our body regulates itself, our nervous system, our sleep cycle, digestive system, hormones, and our focus. They come in waves of about 90 to 120 minutes. So in between cycles, when we're at a trough in our energy levels, it's actually a better idea to take a break. This leads into the second leg, sustaining our energy. What we do outside of deep work strengthens our focus and prevents burnout. Just like our muscles need rest and recovery. There are hundreds of tips for biohacking, cold showers, supplements, and all these complex things that people do to improve their performance. You don't need to do any of that. Because if you dial in 3 habits, the rest really don't matter. Number 1 is exercise. The brain and the body are tightly interconnected, and exercise has been shown to increase chemicals necessary for brain function and growth. Number 2 is sleep. Shoot for 8 hours of sleep each night for maximum recovery. And number 3 is diet. Eliminate processed foods, sugar, and alcohol, and prioritize nutrient-dense food and drink plenty of water. I won't go too deep into energy routines because it really depends a lot on your your lifestyle, your schedule, and your goals. But if you guys are interested in how I personally think about exercise, diet, and sleep, let me know in the comments and I can make another video with more specifics. And that is the protocol. We rest and recover to replenish our energy, and then we can run through it again for our next deep work session. This exact protocol has completely changed my productivity, and it can do the same for you, because over time, you'll start to notice that you actually enjoy and look forward to doing deep work, because regular deep work changes your brain. Our brain literally rewires itself to enjoy being focused and productive. So the more deep work you do, the better you get at it, the more addicting it becomes.